good night, wherever you are in the cosmos today. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you for all of the engagement and everything that you do to help support this channel. This is a space of love, y'all. I am going to get things settled here because I had a setup initially that was with my overhead shot and everything, and we've been having some technical difficulties today, so we shall see. But the original plan today was going to be to do an overhead shot and get into a little bit of, see if I can channel some food for thought style readings, some what I like to call taking out the trash, or narrative storytelling, good for writer's block and all of that, as Lindsay likes to say. And I think that's still what we're gonna do here, but it's gonna be an experimental setup. So it is what it is. Today has been a long, interesting day, but I'm not going to get too far into that for me, relating back to this message, because I feel like this message has very little to do with me. This collective that is tuning in here today is clearly a, taking out the trash, gossip hour, great for writer's block, narrative storytelling type of group. So I don't have a lot of these gossip decks, but I'm gonna use mostly the Rider Waite Smith for that, as well as get y'all some index cards. The shuffling here is interesting. Yeah, I've never had quite such a challenge in shuffling the index cards. I feel like things are just not going smoothly today, but that's not necessarily a problem. It's just, it's a challenge. I think those are going to be reversed for y'all, but that's all right. And then these all came out together. So we got Pinch Me, Rainbows, Branch, Chad, and Kiss Cam? Oh dear. Okay. Well, I guess we're off to a good start if we're going for the gossip hour thing, right? I might just leave those right there for now. Spirit, is there anything else that the collective tuning in here today would benefit from hearing? Oh boy. Again, a bunch came out. Okay. Wind, Beads, Unicorn, Renew, Curtain, Indigo, Monica. If you were curious, let's try that again. Just one, please. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. Freya, Polly, Michael, Mary, please be here with me now. Please allow me to channel a message for the collective in their greatest and highest good. Okay. Yeah, in alignment with their greatest and highest good. Fawn, interesting. Interesting. Oh boy. Can we get them all? I do not have quite as much space as I normally would. Yeah, Fawn. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get right into this Rider Waite here. And actually, let me get some of these bingo cards first, because I'm curious how these cards connect. So we have Pinch Me, Rainbows, Branch, Chad, Kiss Cam, and Fawn. Spirit, is there anything that we could add here to start fleshing out this story? Please and thank you. Ooh. La Bota. And I might be big for my damn boots. but I know they like me. Katrine. Okay. Well, I wasn't really trying to shuffle for another one, but it came out anyways, so we'll take it. Spirit, where are we going with this? La Bota, Katrine. It's a feminine and a masculine, right? La, El. So these are like opposites. It's like a comparison kind of energy. May or may not be in a good or a bad way. But I was getting that lyric from Overnight here. And then I was also getting the Wizard of Oz from this card at a previous moment recently. And so I do kind of see this something shaping up here about authenticity and hard work and like performance and social maneuvering and stuff like that. And that's interesting because it says Chad right here. So I'm just going to put these together. I feel like Chad and Branch may have some kind of relation for some reason. Rainbows kind of giving me like optimism, right? Yeah. Okay, so this one goes here. Pinch me, rainbows. This one goes here. Katrine, Branch, Chad. Branch, like I am not the trunk. I am not the head. I am not the core. I am not the center. I am just a branch. I am just a tool. I am just a piece of this project, of this system. I don't have an identity of my own. I'm just a Chad, right? Yeah. Okay. Fawn and Kiss Cam. Fawn and Kiss Cam. Well, this one came out second, right? So, yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can actually read it on there. And, oh, please. Beautiful. Alrighty. So first we got the Tower. We got the Magician. And I thought we had a third card, but I was wrong. Yeah, there is something going on here, definitely, about change that probably you generated, right? It's almost like you created this tower, right? Okay, so why did you create a tower? Because you wanted a change, you wanted something new, you needed transformation. Something was like stuck or not working. Something was giving death energy, and you smelled the death energy, and you looked at it, and you opened the beast's mouth and like held its teeth and stared into the mouth of the beast. And when you did that, you saw that this death energy was in fact what you thought it was, and you recognized that you had strength of intuition is kind of what I'm getting here. But let me just ask, Spirit, is there anything that we could clarify the strength card with to understand a little bit more about the nature of this decision that you made to create a big transformative change that was hard, maybe it was scary. I don't know how you do with fear or not, but the strength card, is very much a brave woman that is willing to put herself in like harm's way or like take risks or whatever, because she has a mission, a vision, a values, a goal. She's got morals, ethics. She's got a code. She's got a belief system, and her belief system is stronger than her fear. Her belief system is stronger than her instincts. Her belief system's stronger than her programming. And just because she objectively understands that there's fear in the face of a beast that could literally eat her face off, she still chooses to have the bravery and the to confront the thing head on, to confront it. Okay, so I said, what was the nature of this strength and what was the nature of this decision? You made a decision to move. You made a decision to go somewhere. You made a decision to make a big change. This could be more metaphorical, but it could also be a change of location, a change of home. Yeah, on the bottom of the deck, we have Six of Cups, which is a card of like nostalgia and sweetness and childhood and such, but it's also here giving like some kind of familial situation, some type of maybe somebody you've known for a really long time, or something that just held a energy of like innocence and it's like when you're a little kid and people say goofy things like sharing is caring, and then some kids actually do walk around in that energy, and it just makes them happy to help people and to see people smile. And so was this place that you left recently a space of sweetness and support? And was it like a positive space, or was that perhaps an illusion? Or, did you leave one place? Did you leave? I also see here, there's the Magician down here. And the way that the cards all came out is giving me kind of that there may have been some negative magician energy going on, where you had like a manipulator in your life, and that caused a tower because you saw that you needed to do something about it, and you knew that you wanted this sweetness and this innocence in your life. So maybe this isn't a memory of your childhood. Maybe your childhood doesn't even have a lot of good memories, perhaps. But it's like something that you know in your heart. It's like a feeling that you know in your soul. It's something spiritual. It's like a past life memory or energy. It's a memory of a past life energy. It's a knowing that you have of what you need, what you deserve, what's going to like best serve you in the world, right? And what is what you're going for. It's like you are moving forward into this nostalgic past energy that isn't even your past, that is the future. I guess, time is relative. It is the past of someone. It's like you're starting a whole new family line, a whole new lineage based off of an entirely new frequency that is not what you are used to historically. We got Page of Swords and Ace of Swords. So this is some big truth, some big realization that you had come to because you were forced into this really challenging energy because of a manipulator, a player, a social maneuverer, somebody who doesn't just show up as they are, but figures out what they think they want and need from other people, and then reverse engineers their behavior and their words and their actions to get what they need while being viewed as somebody who's giving other people what they need. It reminds me a lot of my mother, my sister, a lot of people that I've seen in my life who I watch do these mental gymnastics of how do I need this thing to work out this way? I need this person to like buy this thing from me or take over this thing from me. And so I need to come up with a reason why that's best for them. And I need to like set it up so that it's real easy for them to go that way. And then they're just going to go along with it. And then they win, I win, everybody wins. Then I get to be a good person. They get to be a good person. Everybody's a good person. But that is that's anxious. That's controlling. That's manipulative. It's a lack of trust in God. It's a lack of trust in yourself. It's a lack of trust in others. It's a lack of respect for all of those things. And so, of course, that's going to bring in some unstable energy. It was just waiting to happen. It was, relationships and interactions built on not a shaky foundation, a non-existent foundation, a rotting foundation, a not real foundation, an an illusory foundation. And so you had this death energy. It was like inevitable. It wasn't really a choice. It was more like the strength, the death experience gave you strength. The strength you had caused the death experience because you were able to see the truth. You weren't able to ignore it. And you also were confronted with what you were missing. And you realized that it was worth, making that happen because that's actually going to be in the best interest of you and everybody else. And you're not like trying to tell people and maneuver and plant seeds and get people to do what you're wanting them to do. What you're doing is you're moving yourself, you're manipulating yourself, you're making those changes and those decisions for yourself. And that is where magician energy belongs. This is magic. And when you do magic on external things, when you try to maneuver and force other external things into the position that you want them in, it might work for a time, but it's not going to last because that is not your domain, that is not your responsibility, that is not for you. And so eventually you're going to get knocked down. So if you want to be able to utilize magic in the most effective way possible, you're going to have to focus on yourself. You're going to have to focus on moving yourself forward from a place of courage, from a place of strength, and from a place of complete honesty, from a place of absolute honesty, from a place of innocence, from a place of, a genuine commitment to the truth. Like sometimes that can cause problems. And some people would say maybe you're like naive or unintelligent for making this commitment to the truth if it doesn't serve you well in the moment, right? But I don't believe that that's true at all. I don't think that this is an immature energy. I think that your commitment to the truth is really important because when you live in this moon energy, when you live in the illusion, when you try to prop up whatever somebody else's story was or whatever the story was that you were telling that wasn't the truth, that wasn't in alignment with reality, that wasn't, where'd it go? This is the truth, right? Pinch me. Rainbows. Yeah. Pinch me, rainbows, La Bota. I'm kind of getting moving on to the 10 of Cups, Kiss Cam, and Alcatrine, Branch, Chad, Fawn. It's like somebody was trying to get you, they were trying to manipulate you into fawning, into working so hard for them, into proving yourself for them. And they got some kind of sick, like, kick out of that. They got some kind of, like, sick emotional fulfillment that comes from this hidden place. They may know about it and keep it secret, or they may be completely unaware. Maybe they keep it secret from themselves because it's just that hard and it's just that painful to acknowledge the maneuvering that they're doing and the desperation they have to make other people choose the words and actions that are in their best interest. Not that person's best interest, but in this manipulator's best interest. And so if you're not committed to the truth, regardless, come hell or high water, committed to the truth, absolute truth, no matter what, just for the sake of it, just for the integrity of it, just to maintain your own self-respect. If you're not committed to that, then you can fall into this fawning energy. You may or may not, be doing that consciously with your conscious awareness. Maybe, somebody is pulling at your triggers and trying to puppeteer you. Or maybe you see that somebody is trying to puppeteer you and pull your triggers, and you've learned that it doesn't do any good to argue with people like that. And you didn't feel the need or ability to get yourself away from them. And so you had to say, well, if this is what you're doing, saying, playing, believing, pretending you believe, if this is what we're doing, then I'm just going to give it as little as possible. Like I'm going to play into it in the way that you ask, in the way that you expect, on the surface, at a minimal level, kind of gray rocking energy, I guess. But it's not a performance of fawning. It's not trying to fawn so hard to convince them that you're fawning. It's more to just go along with the reality that they're presenting as if it is real, not questioning it, but also not emboldening it and not lifting it up. And there's a lot of this with these manipulative types of people where they know how to like pull things and push things so that they have plausible deniability. so they push you or pull you into making the decision for yourself so they can say that was never my intention to begin with, even though consciously or subconsciously it absolutely was their intention. They just don't want to take responsibility for that reality, because if it's not the best thing for everybody, then they don't want to be seen as like selfish or bad or whatever, right? And so you're not really fawning fully, and you're not really avoiding or like putting all your walls and your boundaries up. Right, gray rocking is like this medium energy. You're just meeting people exactly where they're at, and you're responding to the things that they say as if there is nothing else behind them, like nothing hidden. And that can be really frustrating to these manipulators, and they'll just try to find a different way to go about it and see if there's any other way they can get you to make that decision without telling you to make that decision or demanding that you make that decision or whatever. And so if you fall if you fall into this fawn energy a little bit to try and do this gray rocking thing, but you also don't want to be totally fake, and you also don't want to lie, and you're playing this really precarious tightrope game, and it's not sustainable. It's gonna lead to a tower eventually. And so I think that you came to this realization of the truth that it's unsustainable to walk this tightrope with this manipulator while they decide whether or not they want to continue living this way, and whether or not they want to acknowledge the mechanics that are operating in their subconscious. If they don't do the hard work to excavate their subconscious and their childhood trauma and their wounds, if they're not willing to do this emotional labor, then it is a rotten foundation, and it will fall over, and it is not sustainable. And you can't do this tightrope a little bit. Like, it's not real. It's a lot of energy. I mean, it's not full on energy. It's a little bit of energy over a long time. You can do it for a while, but it's not sustainable, right? And so you realized that if you treat it like it's not sustainable to walk the middle, to sit the fence, to walk the tightrope in the long term, then you kind of came to this point where you had to make a decision, right? You had to figure out what your truest truth is foundationally. Like, what you really want, what you really need, what you really believe. And so you're kind of being put in this position of like, do you want this Chad Branch Fawn Wizard of Oz performance energy in your life? Do you want to move towards that end of the spectrum? Do you want to call in that type of interaction, that type of energy? Or do you want to pull in the other energy? This pinch me, kiss cam, rainbows, la bota, like moving forward, taking steps, getting down to business, getting grounded, moving forward in something that's like sustainable and real. It's not about the face, it's not about the clothes, it's about practicality and moving forward, but also about joy and about receiving and about this this 6 of Cups energy. Do you want the 6 of Cups energy? Or do you want the promise of it? Do you want the illusion of it? And that is a choice that you have right now. Like that's what's happening. You don't get to play the middle ground anymore. You don't get to walk the tightrope anymore. It's time to come in with a declaration of truth, to say what you need to say, to acknowledge that you are seeking a sustainable, secure, peaceful, abundant future. You are actively moving forward, taking steps, rushing towards the truth. And the truth is that you want, need, desire, deserve, and are here for growth and for your dharma, and your ability to pursue your dharma is gonna have a lot to do with creating a supportive container, a supportive network, a supportive home, a supportive family, a supportive life situation, a life that can hold you, a life that can hold the light of who you are, that can hold the intensity of who you are, that can hold the beast and the inner child and the God and the garden within you, that can hold the whole thing, that can change the way that you see yourself, the way that you see the world, and can bring you this optimistic, sunny energy, this sunny attitude about the world. Maybe you've been getting really pessimistic and really down on the world because by doing this tightrope energy, by trying to sit this fence and walk this line and avoid playing games with somebody who's trying to play games while also not fully calling them out on those games and not walking away and setting boundaries with those games, right? If you're going to be doing this fence sitting, then you're going to block out the sun and you're going to have a distorted view of the world. But the world is not that dark and dense and terrible. The world is not whatever the fears and anxieties and greedy desires of this Wizard of Oz character. When you interact with them, when you feed into their reality, into their worldview, into their perception, when you have interactions with people who look at the world in this shadowed place, you start absorbing that, you start picking that up. It's kind of hard to avoid. And it takes a lot of work to actively avoid doing that, And so you may have gotten yourself really tired out because you were trying to do that, but it wasn't working. And so also, like, because you got so tired, you stopped the wheel from turning, the world from changing, and you stopped yourself from being able to see the world correctly because you were just so exhausted. You were just exhausted. You had to hide away in this church and take a nap, but there's all of this mosaic here that is filtering the light, and So it's important that you're resting, but you also have to know that in this process of recovery, you're not seeing things clearly. The sun is outside, you know? And so when you step outside to look at the sun again and to see reality for what it is, then what you're going to see is this Ace of Wands. And that is a very like optimistic, vital energy. It is a very abundant energy. And it's also like you were so exhausted, but once you gain the ability to step back out into the sunlight, you're going to remember how warm it is. You're going to remember how good it can be. You're going to remember the life force that you have available to you. You're going to remember, and you're going to remember who you are. There's 3 wands here right now. That's a sunflower. Okay, 2 wands. Still, the 2 of wands is coming through here as well. I don't have it on the table, but just with the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands together, it's like you're looking out into your future. And when you look out into your future, you see God handing you this wand. This, well, a wand, like magic, like your ability to manipulate the world and manipulate yourself through taking control of your own words and actions. You are regaining your magic. You are regaining your power. You're regaining your magnetism. You're regaining your vitality. You're regaining your capacity for leadership. You're regaining your independence. You're regaining your optimism. You're regaining your position of power, of higher ground, of higher perspective. You're regaining so much. And oh my gosh, didn't I just say 3 of Wands? Yeah. And you're looking out into your future from this place, knowing that it only gets better from here. That you thought that the sun was blocked out forever. You didn't think that the sun existed. You thought the sun was something it wasn't. You thought the sun wasn't as bright as it was. But then when you finally were able to step outside and see how wrong you were, maybe you haven't seen the full extent of how wrong you were, but just that experience gave you the deep, known, felt sense understanding that there is more to life than you thought. There is more to life than you believed. More freaking wands. So much fire here. That's crazy. Okay, so Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands, 3 of Wands, Knight of Wands. You are, if you are not currently, you are coming back to life very shortly here. You are coming back to life. You are regaining your ability to move forward. You're also regaining your ability to sit tight and plan and look into the future and be patient and put one foot in front of the other and like use your imagination and your visualization to make sure things are aligned before you move forward in this Knight of Wands impulsive full-on energy. Here is also the 2 of Wands. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Cups. So now that you've made this decision, now that you've relit your fire, now that you are in a place of knowing how much you don't know and accepting that and letting that feed your fire, you have an offer coming in. You have an offer coming in like of an emotional nature. You have some type of love offer coming in. Rainbows, pinch me, kiss cam. Okay, it might even be romantic. Take what resonates, leave the rest. It might be like a living situation, a family situation, something like this. And so what you had kind of blended together when you were sitting on this fence, once you made this decision and this distinction, this is black and this is white, and I have to choose one or the other. You went through this whole process of empowerment, and that has allowed you to at least attract this love offer. I don't know if you are aligned to receive this love offer or not. Let's ask. Okay, So, oh, we got 5 of Cups and Temperance. Yeah, so you have a high likelihood of being capable of getting yourself into a place where that is gonna work. You do still have this energy of like crying over spilled milk. You do still have this energy of like, you have to acknowledge the emotions that you're struggling with right now. But also, there are these 2 cups behind us, right? And so you might not see them or acknowledge them when you're crying over spilled milk, but if you can find it in you yourself to at some point turn around and like look at everything 360 degrees around you and recognize, yes, there is all of this bad and it's intense and it might even be more than the good. But am I going to let that totally destroy my attitude? Am I going to let myself only look at these 3 cups and thereby turning my whole life into, instead of 3 out of 5, um, instead of what is that, 60% or whatever, of my life being spilled milk? When you just look over here, 100% of your life is spilled milk. But if you look everywhere, yeah, you don't have as much good as you have bad, but if you're able to fully appreciate and acknowledge the good in the face of the bad, that is when you earn that. Like, that's when you call that in. That's when that is the work. That is what we are here to do. It's not easy. It, we're we're not going to just be given good things because we work hard. We have to be aligned. We have to make sure that our attitude is in the right place. We have to choose our words, our actions, and those things internally. Like, we have to we have to treat our mind like a garden. We have to grow it and we have to find this balance. So this is Temperance, maybe a nod to Sagittarian energy for some of y'all, might be heavy in your chart or in one of the people that you're dealing with in this situation. But yeah, you're just being asked to work with the good and the bad, to not ignore, to make sure that you do acknowledge this part of yourself and not try and hide those shadows and those challenges away, to fully confront them. But then also, while you're sitting or while you're standing with one foot in the water of these 3 cups that spilled and one foot on the earth, as you pour these 2 cups back and forth and create something new and balanced. It's like taking salt water and fresh water and mixing them back and forth until they're like one and the same. It's a balancing energy, right? And so you're acknowledging your pain while also doing the work of acknowledging the good. And that can actually be a lot more challenging than people would like to admit. And that's why a lot of people don't do it. That's why a lot of people think, can you just, give me a rubric so I can do XYZ and then I can be done with it? Because it is quite overwhelming to be asked to take full responsibility for holding all of your challenging, dark emotions and for taking responsibility for the words and actions and thought patterns moving into the future that are going to, maintain and maybe build and grow this good energy. A lot of people don't want to believe that that's what's necessary, because they don't want to believe that life is that hard. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Like, there's a lot of reasons somebody would not want to believe that life is that hard. But that's, I don't think, what we're really talking about today. You are the Empress. You don't really care what their excuses are. They don't really matter. And they never really did. You may have been, wanting to provide some validation or some empathy or something, while at the same time understanding that they were digging themselves into a hole. And so you were trying to maintain this Empress energy. You were trying to maintain this higher ground that you built, that you deserve, that is your Dharma, that is your essence, that is who you are. And you were trying to maintain this while letting them spin out, do their thing that you saw wasn't working and wasn't going to last, but with the hope that they would find their angels, talk to them, and find this balance on their own so that they could readjust things in their lives and do this alchemy and develop the kind of attitude that would allow them to have a sustainable position in your life. And so you had a lot of patience. Temperance is usually a card of a lot of patience. You had a lot of patience, but that patience ran out eventually. And you went through this process of becoming the Queen of Wands, becoming the Empress, because of all of the pain and the trouble that was caused by trying to, you know, sit this fence, walk this tightrope, work together with this person who wasn't even working together with all the parts of themselves. So how the heck are they supposed to know how to do that with you, right? This is the Page of Wands in reverse. So this person that you were dealing with, that you have chosen, that you have felt necessary, that you have felt forced to walk away from, to move forward from, to move on from, to move away from, is in this impulsive, arrogant, selfish energy. And so you just kind of saw it for what it was. It was very painful to acknowledge, but once you saw it and you felt it, you knew that you had to move on. You knew that you had to make a hard decision, because if you didn't, then those 9 wands were just going to shoot you right in the back. So you got to get out of there, you know? You've got to get out of there. And there's also, interestingly, 3 cups on the top of this stack of cups. So it's like these 3 cups are kind of precarious up there. And if these swords shoot over here, they're going to knock over these 3 cups and turn them into these 3 cups of knocked over whatever is in them, you know? And so if you don't want to generate even more negativity and more crying over spilled milk energy, then you can't stay here. You can't stay here forever. And so you knew that. And so you knew you had to walk away so that you didn't either, you know, have these knocked over, or you weren't even there when it happened. Because they're not for you. Those cups are not for you. Maybe somebody was trying to tell you that those cups were for you, but maybe it was because it was in their own self-interest and they were trying to convince you to do something that was in their best interest without them having to acknowledge and take responsibility for their needs. Okay. So now you're walking into a new energy, a new world, and that is defined by this King of Wands energy. I'm also getting counterparts, because you were the Queen of Wands, Empress, in this reading so far, and the King of Wands is the Queen of Wands counterpart. So if we have some kind of it might be that you had a family situation, a work situation, something of that nature that was this Chad energy. Maybe you were a part of a community that was just like really toxic for you. And when you decided to walk away from this community, I'm getting that this is actually opening up romantic love offers and connections for you because of this Kiss Cam card primarily. And because of the King of Wands that came out with the Queen of Wands. So I guess whatever this relationship is that you have made the way for, that you've opened the way for, that you've opened the roads for, there may be some ritual magic that would be useful for some of y'all to do, like road opening. But really, this is the magic. You deciding to walk into this new world and to walk away from this fawn energy or this energy of this performer that was, you know, asking you to fall into line with this system of performance and fawning. And now that you have created freedom and space from that, mentally and physically, in every way, on every level, that is the road opening ritual, the road opening magic. So really it's up to you to just kind of like process your emotions around all of this right now so that you can move forward in the healthiest, happiest, freest way possible and not carry too much out of the past besides, you know, lessons and other positive beneficial things, right? So with this King of Wands energy and this Queen of Wands energy, this relationship you're opening up is defined by it's going to be fun, it's going to be hot, it's going to be passionate, it's going to be filled with life force, it's going to be warm, it's going to be like a campfire, it's going to be kind of comforting and inspiring. There is a lot of leadership energy here, there's a lot of charisma, but grounded charisma. You know, it's not the Page of Wands, it's the King of Wands. So this isn't like performative. This is like, I've been through things and I know who I am, and that's why I'm magnetic, right? And I feel like a King of Wands is one of the few energies that can really handle the Queen of Wands in the long term, because she is a leader and she is confident and she is so authentic, and she needs somebody that is all of those things in her life by her side if she's going to have a teammate, you know? And that is what's opening up here. So, this is the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of teamwork, of a workplace. So you may work with this person, you may start a business with this person, you may meet or deepen your relationship with this person through some kind of business related endeavor. You may be connected through, you know, if you left this community, if this was like a family business thing, and now you're opening up new opportunities, maybe you are going to connect with this romantic offer through this new community that you are pouring yourself into now that you have taken your energy away from this toxicity, right? And so chicken or the egg, you know, maybe you meet together at work, or maybe you create a work together and then you spend more time together that way. I don't know, you got lots of options, you got lots of opportunities, you got lots of ways you could go about it. But either way, the energy is an energy of like counterparts, of a soul, like of a connection, of, I'm blanking on a lot of the words I use for Two of Cups a lot of the time. But yeah, you have this connection coming in that's going to bring you a lot of emotional fulfillment. Like, I don't know, is this something that you haven't had access to before? Is this something, wow, cups, cups, cups. We have Two of Cups, Nine of Cups, King of Cups. So, right. So you have a lot of cups. You got a lot of emotions. You have a lot of emotions. And you don't think too highly of yourself, and you don't have a big position of authority, like, but you have a lot of emotions. You have a lot of value here. You have a lot of currency here. And so does this counterpart. He only has one cup, but you know, quality over quantity sometimes. And this is what I'm getting here is by coming into this emotional fulfillment. And this is almost like a greedy energy. Like, I know what I want and I'm gonna take all of it, and I'm gonna hold on to it, and I deserve this kind of thing. So you may or may not be in that kind of arrogant energy. Maybe you like fall into it, or maybe you've dealt with people like that in the past. Maybe that's rubbed off on you or something. But for the most part, you're very emotionally fulfilled. You have 9 out of 10 cups. So you create the greatest possible individual emotional fulfillment possible by going through this empowerment, transformative process, by moving from one community to the other. And in so doing, you meet a counterpart that brings you this 10th cup. And together, you are going to become, that you are going to build, you are going to create a 10 of cups. Complete emotional fulfillment, family, home, legacy. Yes, 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 yes. Shout out to Hadley or Millie's channel. I think so. I think so. All right. If anybody has any more comments, I will probably be able to get to them today because we are so close, or like I am so close to the camera. And I will try to remember that. So do we need to add anything else to this reading here? Spirit, is there anything missing from this story that would benefit the collective here? Oh boy. Okay. So we have 8 of Wands, mental entrapment, and is this 5 of Wands or Wands? 8 of Swords, mental entrapment, and 5 of Swords. It's like conflict, struggle, strife, but it's also, you see these people walking away from this guy who is holding all these swords, and these other 2 guys, they dropped their swords. They're like, hey man, like, you don't play I don't want to play like this anymore. Like, go, I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm not part of this. I'm not competing with you. I don't want to compete with you. There is no competition with you. Like, if I was to fight you, I would just cut your head right off, and I would feel bad about that. I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna walk away because you're coming at me with 2 swords, and I don't really need that. I don't really want that. It's giving kind of a 2 of Swords energy of like a lose-lose situation, a no-win situation. I'm getting this is that puppeteer, and I'm getting that this is you. So they were doing this. You didn't want to look at it because it's like, that's sad and annoying. So you put this blindfold on yourself. But because you put this blindfold on yourself, you prevented yourself from being able to pull yourself out of your own swords energy that was getting all crazy. And so you have to take this blindfold off. You have to look at the scene in front of you. You have to acknowledge who this guy is for who he or she or they are, whoever they happen to be in your life. Maybe it's not even like a person, maybe it's like a business, and there is a supervisor, a higher up that's kind of like representing the business that is playing this role for you. But in any case, they're controlling, they're domineering, they're dishonest, they lack accountability, and people don't like that, and people don't like them. So if you stick around this energy, then everybody's going to run away from you also. And then you're going to find yourself locked away behind all these swords in this dangerous, isolated, blinded position. And does this person want you in that position? I hope not. That's kind of creepy. It's giving me like a spider with something like tied up in its web. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. And so this is kind of the energy that you were dealing with, and it stopped. This is in the, what is that called? The 8 of Wands in the upright is fast moving. It's a message, you know? And you have ended communication. That's kind of giving me like no contact may be relevant for something else situations. It might be that challenging. It might be that bad. It might be that dangerous. It might be that much of like a breach of trust or a loss of respect, where there's really nothing that can be said. And so you have to cover up the words, take out the words, remove that whole communicative process, and put the fire out. And that is what you have done in a complete and literal sense, or energetically to some degree. But now that you have spoken your truth, you and put your foot down and made this decision, you are coming into this Hierophant energy. This Hierophant energy is about your connection to God, is about you coming into lockstep with God, with your higher power, with your conscience, with your belief systems. And the Hierophant is also a card that refers to marriage, which is interesting because we were getting this counterpart energy behind here earlier. Hermit in reverse. You are coming out of hiding. You are coming out of isolation. You have learned things from this isolation, but it's time to learn other things. It's time to learn things about righteousness and relationships. It's time to grow up. It's time to mature. It's time to put your foot down and write the rule book, right? And step into that and live up to that, because you know now. You know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you need, and you know your interpretation of the events that are right in front of you. It's funny that we're talking about God here, and then we have Branch, Chad, Fawn. There's this guy, Mike Malagies, I think, that he totally fawns over God in like a churchgoer kind of way. And he comes across to me as a bit of a Chad, not super like manipulative, but just a suburban white boy America, likes to work out and do basketball and whatever. And he has this song. He's very much about not being pretentious, but he's also very aligned with the church. And so I think that it's very easy to come into a sense of like spiritual narcissism when you're encouraged in that, in a sense of communal narcissism. So I think the church could be very dangerous for that reason. But he has a song that I felt coming through here that was interesting, where he says, I've been up, I've been down, I've been up and down again. Had to wait for it to work out like I'm in a crowded gym. God gave me so much. Every time I doubted him, Jesus only gives you this, right? You only get this type of fruit when you go out on a limb. You hadn't made this black and white decision before, and you didn't know what was going to happen when you changed the way you were going about living. And you knew you couldn't keep doing what you were doing because it wasn't sustainable, and you could see the truth of that. But you also didn't know where you were going because you'd never gone there before. So when you made that choice, when you did this delineation, when you made this black and white moment, you went out on a limb, and you didn't know if that limb was going to snap. You didn't know if that branch was going to break and you were going to fall and everybody was going to laugh at you and you were going to have a bloody nose and it was all going to be for nothing, and you were going to lose the position of security that you had before. You went out on a limb. You took a real risk. Remember the strength card back there. You took a real risk, and you knew that. It was a calculated risk, but it was also calculated knowing there is nothing, and there is nothing in this world worth the inevitable reality of my future if I continue down this path. And that's all you needed to know to come out of this isolation and to step into your truth, to step into your future, to step into your dharma, to step into this mature love, to step into this new community, to step into these boots are made for walking, and that's just what I'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Yeah, but it's like when you walk all over this Chad energy, it's not because you're like stomping on it. It's because you're walking towards something else, and they put themselves underneath your shoes. And then they're like, ah, why are you stepping on me? Well, okay. Can we get some more info on this counterpart situation? The like quality of it, the energy behind it. We got King of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups here. So I see that you're going to be able to come into a space of softness and vulnerability and openness that I think is probably pretty natural to most of you. Whether you're a man or a woman, it's like this feminine, receptive, loving energy that is home to you. And you're gonna want you're gonna want to be in that energy whenever you're in situations that provide you with the container to do that safely. And it's funny I said safely and container, right? Because a safe container is the King of Pentacles, right? That he is safety, he is security, he is a space, he is the road, he is the tunnel, he is the house, he is the home, he is the wire. You're the fire, you're the energy, you're the blood, you're the Kai of Chi, and he's your body. So this may be male, female, take whatever resonates as far as this love energy partnership thing goes, but they hold this masculine energy within themselves. They're probably really established in their career or their finances. They probably know who they are and where they're going. And I think that they want to build something with you or for you in the realm of Pentacles, as far as a estate, property, a house, a home, you know. I'm almost kind of getting a garden, right? This is like the earth with the seeds in it. Pentacles is very much a seeds energy for me. And then the Queen of Cups is like raining down on it. Okay, so it's like he already has this security, stability, self-knowledge, career. He already has this security. This is a secure person. This is a secure person that's secure enough to create the space and create the environment and allow the space for you to be yourself and to be soft and to be authentic and natural and open, and to feel safe enough to pour your love all over this seed to such an extent, just like without abandon, just like almost all your water, you just pour it all over the seed. And if this wasn't secure enough here, if it was like a big pile of sand with a seed in the middle of it, and you just poured all your water all over it, it's just gonna knock the whole pile of sand away. It's gonna knock the seed away, and it's not gonna grow. The water's gonna like filter out and go somewhere else, and it's not gonna hold. My camera is dying. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Ace of Cups, Page of Cups. Yeah, this is so much emotional fulfillment. This is such a long time coming. This is such a gift from yourself. This is such a storyline too, because Page of Cups is the beginning of this the suit of cups, and the Ace of Cups is like the highest. So you have always been the Page of Cups, and you have taken this little cup and you have alchemized that and you have turned it into an Ace of Cups by absolutely denying and rejecting any of this energy of conflict and struggle and strife and heartbreak and and accepting the death, the new beginning that is made possible. And you are committed to holding your ground even when it gets hard, so that this change, this turn of the wheel actually happens, actually goes down, because you see the seed and you are ready to grab the seed, and you are unwilling to pretend you don't see the seed. The seed is here. The seed is here. And what is this? Eight of Wands. It's gonna take a lot of work, but there's a difference between a lot of work that can be challenging, can be unknown, can be potentially a failure or something. It's a risk. That's an exhausting risk. That's hard. That's scary. That's intense. Maybe you've never had some kind of relationship or connection or community in your life like this before, and that's triggering some sort of like fear and avoidance or anxiety or something in you, because it's so real, because it's so what you've been needing, because it's so what you've been asking for, because it's so what you've been looking for, because it's so secure, because it's so sustainable, because it's so real, because it's so authentic. That is why you're afraid. But that's okay. It's going to be hard. It's going to be exhausting. But because of your fear, because of what's behind you, and you learned from this. And there are other people still here struggling, out in the cold, out in the snow, locked out of the church, don't have the warmth, don't have the food, don't have the things they need, but they feel dejected, they feel forsaken. And you chose to go a different way. You chose to look in the other direction. And you can see all of this hard work, but you can also see all of this emotional fulfillment, all of this reward, all of this stability, all of this security, all of this emotional fulfillment. You see it. And so you're going to do the hard work, because that victory is worth everything. It is worth putting one foot in front of the other, taking one step at a time, knowing that it could be slow, it could be risky, it could require hard work. But that's okay. You're going to celebrate. You're going to have more moments of hard work, but you're going to keep moving. Anyways, even if you have a setback, Knight of Pentacles to Page of Pentacles, even when you have setbacks, you know you're the star. You know that you have a future. You know that you have hope. You know that you need those things, that you are those things, that you have stepped into them and embodied them because it's who you need to be in the world, because the world needs you. And you don't feel that in an arrogant, egotistical way. You feel that in like an Aquarian way. It's just facts. You're not bragging, and you're not seeking this Three of Cups energy. This Three of Cups energy is just coming into your life as a natural side effect and result of your confidence and of your commitment to your truth, to your commitment to your goals, your values, your needs, your desires, your commitment to the truth. You're so committed that you don't even care. It doesn't even matter whether it works or not. And that is bringing you into this space where you are free from Seven of Wands, deceptive, lying, cheating, stealing energies. Because you never wanted to be that. And the only reason you ever felt like you had to start playing that a little bit and sitting that fence and enabling things is because you physically surrounded yourself with these people that were making these choices, and you had to choose to leave, to move away from them. You had to choose to stop working on something, to stop pouring into a community or a relationship or a pattern, you had to leave that behind, because it's like a sunken cost fallacy, right? You don't, you're sailing into releasing this, and you don't want to pour all of your energy and resources into something that is a black hole, that you know is not only not going to get you the results that you want, is not going to make that person happy, it's not going to help that community grow. Actually, it's just going to extract, it's just going to drain. It's not regenerative. It wasn't a regenerative energy, it wasn't a regenerative pattern. And once you saw the truth of that, the only way for you to continue forward without making a huge change was to become a knowing manipulator, to become a knowing member of this system, to become a branch of this system that you knew in your bones and from your experience on every level was wrong. And so you would have lost your self-respect in a situation like that. You would have only gained, the only positive part of your life, the only gain you would have had possible would have been to feel like you are lording over other people because you have resources that they want, and you would have turned into a greedy, performative, savior complex kind of person. Maybe you're prone to that already, but whether you're aware of it or not, that was absolutely a potential for you. If you were going to continue to make the choice to physically remain around people, places, and things that were creating these toxic patterns that you would have to choose to enable or actively battle, which is not even it, you battling is enabling them, because you're just giving your energy to something that you should be walking away from. You should be starving, you should be draining, you should be ending its life through withdrawal, through isolation, through ignoring it, by not pouring your energy into it, fighting something, warring with something, debating with something. When you debate with something that you disagree with, you are feeding it. You are losing. You are not creating justice in the world. So what is justice? Well, the King of Swords. The King of Swords is justice. Truth is justice. The truth is the justice. And it's, it's straightforward. It's not emotional. It is what it is. You cut this and it's over. You've gotten to the very bottom of something. There's nowhere further that you can go. And if you tried, you would be going into that debate energy. And whether you're physically involved in this person, place, thing, relationship, community anymore, even just mentally spending that time trying to go around in circles and flesh out the truth, and that's not gonna be useful for you. You don't need to defend your position. You know your truth. You know your truth. And by accepting that, that's how you get this 10 of Pentacles, how you get into this legacy, how you create this home, how you create this community. Ooh, I put it down in reverse. I don't know if it came out in reverse, but that's interesting to note. So again, the truth was that what you were working on was an illusion. It was never, I'm getting kind of future faking off of this. There may be somebody in your life that was utilizing this future faking energy and pretending to be a King of Swords, pretending to have a higher perspective, a higher truth, and saying, hey, I know better than you, just listen to me. But the problem is they didn't know. And they were leading you into darkness. That's funny right here. Kiss Cam Pinch Me Rainbows, boots. They're wearing boots in this. Rainbows. 10 of Cups. They were future faking to get whatever it was they were trying to get out of you and to sabotage your future emotional fulfillment because they didn't want you to have that. Whether that was subconscious and it was like some kind of jealousy based thing, or whether it was totally strategic and known. But I mean, you saw that. You saw that was the truth. And you saw how this person was like holding on to things, controlling things, being strategic and greedy and controlling. And again, once you see that for what it is, and there's no way for you to argue with it without losing your own self-respect, that's when you come into this Queen of Pentacles energy. That's when you have the support of people in your life that are mirroring back the truth to you and saying, no, like, you got this, you saw this, you clocked this, and maybe you don't want to, maybe you don't want to be so sure, battery dying, maybe you don't want to be so sure of yourself because you've known people in the past who were so sure of themselves and you saw how wrong they were. And so you want to remember and keep in mind that humility, like you could always be wrong. But the people that don't want to walk around in that humility are oftentimes the ones who are just talking out of their asses. And you've learned to not do that anymore. You've learned that you're not going to play that anymore. You've stopped juggling. You've stopped trying to make this decision. This decision is made. You've gone out of a place of limbo. That's over. That's over. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else for this collective before we wrap up here? I'm not sure I will even have time to get an oracle card for them before my phone dies. I think I'm at like 5% or something now. Okay. So I think that that's about it. I only have a couple of cards left and they're like not coming out. I don't know if it's because I have so few left or if the message just is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. You're done juggling. Judgment. Okay, let's get an oracle card. Freya, Folly, Michael, Mary. Please allow me to see. Please allow me to see. Clemency. Vasaraya. And in the reverse, we have Asmodee, lust and weak wills. I actually am not super familiar as much of like a reader and stuff as I am. I'm not 100% sure on the real definition of clemency. And so it's interesting to see in the reverse, it says lust and weak wills. You obviously have struggled with lust and weak will in the past, you know, a lust towards supporting, a lust towards enabling, a lust towards loving indiscriminately, right? And that's not always the healthiest thing. And so, yeah, you have the angel of clemency with you right now. And that is important because you're going to need that moving forward because you haven't fully healed and like gotten rid of all the patterns that put you in this fence sitting tightrope energy in the first place. It's going to come back up inevitably at one point or another. And so it's just really important that you maintain some relationship to a support system that will be there for you no matter what happens. Okay, so we're going to look up this card 32 in the guidebook for Vasaraya. It says, Vasaraya dominions, God the just, Psalm 33:4. For the word of the Lord is right, and all his words are done in truth. People born under Vasaraya's influence have good memories, speak eloquently, and are amiable, spiritual, and modest. Vasaraya can protect against those who make attacks in court, rules over justice, and influences nobility, legal executives, magistrates, and attorneys. Sole guardians of those born between 10:20 and 10:40 a.m. I think that's my birth time. I'll have to look it up. Moral guardian of those born on April 20th, July 1st, September 11th, November 22nd, or February 2nd. Physical guardian of those born between August 22nd and August 26th. And then we have a little bit about the demon here. Let's see if we can get it in before my phone dies. Asmodee, king. The 32nd spirit, Asmodee or Asmodai, is a great and powerful king who appears with 3 heads, one like a bull, the second like a man, and the third like a ram. Asmodee teaches the arts of arithmetic, astronomy, and geometry. He gives true answers, makes you invincible, and shows the places where treasures lie. His business is to plot against the newly wedded, sever them utterly by many calamities, and waste away the beauty of virgin women. He can transport men into fits of madness and desire when they have wives of their own. Among the legions of Amon, he governs 72 legions, of infernal spirits, servant of those born between August 22nd and August 26th. Wow, that's so funny. Okay, so you may struggle with somebody from this Chad energy coming through energetically, spiritually, or in, practical ways, trying to, what does it say? Plot against the newly wedded? Yeah. So keep that in mind. Do your protection work. And also, as you're moving forward into this energy of clemency, see if that you feel called to work with the number 32, to work with the number 5, to work with the spirit of Asmodee in some way, but also mostly to work with the energy of Vasaraya, because the energy of Vasaraya is going to give you the wisdom, the insight, the strength, and the will to defend yourself against these dark artists that can and will come after you, because you've done some powerful stuff, and that is inevitably always the case in the end. So my phone again is at a few percent. That's so funny. This just popped out here. What does it say? Hanged man. Yeah, you were the hanged man, but no longer. You can see. You just need to remember and keep moving forward one step at a time. Keep those boots walking. I love you so much. Love, light, peace, and personal responsibility. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day or night.